Okay, we're going to be looking at a few of the advanced type and typography features in Illustrator, just to show you that there's a lot of things that you can do besides just lay out text in a plain way. So I have at the beginning of a layout here, the document is called Creative Typography if you want to download it and follow along. So for the main text here, I'm going to just take my selection tool and hold shift and just drag it bigger, but you can see it doesn't go bigger, and that's because it's area type. So I'm going to undo that and go to type, convert to point type. And now if I drag, it does actually get bigger. I'm going to change the font to this stencil font, which is kind of more of a coffee type font. And then what I'm going to do is use something called the touch type tool. So I'm going to zoom in a bit and hold down the type tool, and the touch type tool is right at the bottom. And what that allows you to do is to select each character and to rotate it, scale it, squash it, move it. So rotate from the top here, scale, move, and you can also squish it from here as well, which I'm not going to do. So I'm just going to rotate and scale to make this more of a kind of interesting random arrangement of letters. I'm trying to make them touch each other so that I can eventually merge them all together into one shape. Okay. All right, so obviously you can take more time with this if you have a particular design in mind. Okay, I'm fairly happy with that. So back to my selection tool. So this is still live text. I can still double click and change the what the text says. It's not always going to give me a predictable result, but it's still live text. So I'm going to pop it there, and then I'm going to turn it into outlines, which means it's no longer editable text, it's now shapes, which is a good idea, especially when you're doing something like this, which is kind of a custom type of thing, is you don't want to leave it as editable text before you send it to a printer or export it, because you might lose something in translation. So with that selected, type, create outlines. Then what I want to do is I want to just do a bit of editing to a specific letter here. So this F, I'm going to double click to isolate it and double click again, and then I'm going to go to my direct selection tool, and I'm going to just select these points at the bottom and just drag it down a little bit longer, just to give it a bit of heft, and then double click away. Okay, so now that I've got my custom text here, I'm going to click on my Pathfinder Unite to make it into one shape, and then I'm going to apply a kind of coffee color. Okay, and let's give it a stroke. Also a nice dark coffee color, and we'll make that bigger. Okay, so that's my heading. And then let's look at, so I've got my little checklist here. So that's the touch type tool, that's converting to outlines. Now we want our text to be formatted here and to wrap around this coffee cup. So the thing with Illustrator is your text area is basically an editable box. So if I was to take my pen tool and let's say add another point here and then edit that, you can see the text actually wraps inside that shape. So whatever shape you have, you can turn it into a text area, or you can take a text area and you can edit it into a new shape. So that's always interesting to remember. But what I'm going to do is first of all do some formatting with this text. So I'll make it white, And I'm just going to edit, let's see, what should I go for? Okay, if you don't have Helvetica Light, you can choose a font that appeals to you. I'll make it 15 and increase the leading a bit. Okay, and now I need it to wrap around this coffee cup. So if I go to my layers and I unlock the background, you can see the coffee cup is here. It's a PNG with transparency around it. So I'm going to go to Object, Text Wrap, Make. And nothing happens. It tells me where the wrap area is, but nothing happens because the coffee cup is below the text. So you need to fix that. So I'm just going to drag that selection up to the text layer, and the coffee cup is now above the text, and therefore it forces it to wrap. I can change the distance that it wraps by going to Object, Text Wrap Options, and I can change that amount. So I'm just going to push it up to 10 points. Right, so now I've got my text wrapped. I think that some of it's being overset here, so I'm just going to bring the font size down a tiny bit. Okay, so that works fine. Then I want to put text on a path around this coffee mug. So I'm going to take my ellipse tool and I'm going to hold Shift and Alt and draw an ellipse here. I'll press D to give it a black stroke and a white fill, and then / to remove the fill. So I've just got the stroke and I can now position it. So I want to put some text on that stroke. So I'm going to go to my type tools here and I'm going to choose type on a path. And I'm going to click on that path. And now I'm going to type my text. So I'm going to say, wake up and smell the coffee. And I'll select that. And then I can format it like normal text. So I'll make it Helvetica bold. I'll increase the font size, increase the tracking, and let's change the color to white. And now if I go back to my selection tool, I can use these little handles here to actually move this text around to a position that I want it to be. And if I go on the inside of the path, it flips over. Okay, so now I have my text on a path. I'm going to just position it a little bit better. All right, so that's type on a path. So the next thing we want to look at is glyphs. So here I have some text, and I want a little glyph to go before each one of these menu items. So the first thing I'll do is make it white so that we can see it. And then I'm going to double click so that I switch to the type tool and go to before the word cappuccino. And then I'm going to go type, glyphs. So glyphs is a panel that you can use to get any special characters, even for other languages that require certain accents on letters and things like that. Your glyphs panel is where you'll find those. So I want to go to a font called Wingdings, and I want to find where is it? There's a little sun here. I'm going to double click to add that little sun there, and then I'm going to select it and just push the font size up to 20. Okay, so that's a glyph. So I'm going to take that and copy and paste it there and there. Okay, now for the word and the price. Let's deal with those. So I'm just going to do the first one. I'm going to select all of this, and I'm going to go to my character settings and change the baseline shift so that the text is a little bit higher. I'm also going to push the font size up a bit. Let's take it up to 20. And now the baseline, that's the vertical position of the text, can be adjusted. And then for the rand, I'm just going to click before the R and press tab 3 times. And then this R needs to be treated specially. So I'm going to make it a bit smaller and use baseline shift to push it up a bit. Okay, so we've got some kind of treatment here. Now we want to use it again, and maybe we want to use this in a lot of places in, let's say, a document. So it would make sense for us to make styles out of these things. So I'm going to go to Window, Type, Character Styles. And you can see I have character styles and paragraph styles. So I'm going to choose character styles, and I'm going to select this little glyph, and I'll make a style, and I'll call it sun glyph. It doesn't save the actual character, but it'll save the style of the character. Then here we'll make a style, and we'll call it menu item. And then we'll take this little rand, and we'll make a style, and we'll call it rand. All right, so now I can take this and apply the menu item. I can then tab, select the rand, and apply rand. Take this, apply menu item, tab across, and apply rand. So character styles and paragraph styles are a way for you to be super organized with your work and to get a consistent look and result throughout. It's also easy to edit afterwards. Okay, so it's just a little bit of practice with some of the more advanced features in Illustrator. So give it a try and do something creative with some of these tools.